Hey folks, welcome to Friendly Orbit, the podcast that draws us together no matter how far we fly. I am Ceres, wondering why I'm still here, just to suffer? And I'm joined by...
About to lose a friend, it's Thea.
Yay! It's another shitty movie review, apparently.
Yes, maybe or maybe not the start of a new series.
Shitty movie reviews.
Yes. And this series will make you regret the old authorial visions of the past. Because I'm swinging completely to the other side, to the, is this a movie angle of cinema, where corporate executives look at something that is clearly not a movie, and say, this could be a movie though. Very much like in the 1980s already, I think it was a Monty Python sketch. There was like a room of executives. In the back, there was a poster for the Coupon movie. And these are movies very much in the spirit of that. And today we...
Corporate movie by committee.
Yeah. Today we ask a question. Could a Zoom call be an Amazon commercial, be also a movie, and the movie be called War of the Worlds?
Wait, War of the Worlds?
Yeah. Classic War of the Worlds 2025. The Zoom call movie.
Uh-oh. I heard of the other War of the Worlds.
No.
I read the book War of the Worlds.
No, this movie...
I'm a War of the Worlds stan.
This movie... I know, that's why I picked this. This movie came out like a month ago and took the corner of the internet that I lurk in by storm, just by being what it is. And I thought, because you are such a War of the Worlds stan, I need to drag you kicking and screaming.
Yeah. I'm so excited to engage with one of my first sci-fi properties I ever read.
New and improved.
Ignition sequence start. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff.
Thea, I'm running out of data.
What? Oh no, the feed is collapsing and planes are crashing out of the sky.
They don't have enough data to run.
They don't have enough data. We're running out of data. The aliens are eating my dead wife's pictures. They need it to become more powerful.
All right, so we've watched the movie now. We both think it's bad. Should we tell them what happens in it?
Yes. So we watched, for those who didn't get it yet, we watched the 2025 War of the Worlds movie by Amazon Prime, which notably opened with a 0% on Rotten Tomatoes and only made its way up to like 4% currently.
I feel like this is actually one where the authorial vision of Amazon Prime can be heavily felt in the movie.
Well, the vision of Amazon Prime can be felt. I don't know if I would award it the word authorial. But before we get into the movie, a little bit of context. The War of the Worlds is a book written between 1895 and 1897 and published in 1897 and then as a hardcover in 1898 by William Heinemann, also known as H.G. Wells.
The classic.
The classic, yes. I'm wrong. William Heinemann is the guy who published it. The author's name is H.G. Wells. It's not a pseudonym.
All right, there you go.
Strike that.
Herbert Gerbert Wells.
You know, you might be right.
Probably
Herbert
not,
George Wells, but too bad. I would have liked it. Herbert Gerbert Wells, yes. And the War of the Worlds is an invasion story, maybe the archetypical alien invasion story. And what people maybe don't know is that it was part of a literary genre called invasion literature, which was very in vogue at the time. Started in the 1870s with a book that depicted an invasion of Great Britain by Germany. Fictional, of course, but it was kind of the first of its genre.
I think what's interesting also about War of the Worlds is it's based off of scientific literature. So there was a recent observation by an Italian of
Canals
waterways
on Mars.
Well, that's the thing, right?
I mean,
so these were in Italian referred to as canali, which, as far as I don't speak Italian, but as I've understood, does not imply that they're man-made, but a canal is man-made. And so it was mistranslated into English, right? So basically what this Italian astronomer was saying, I've observed Mars, and on Mars I've observed patterns on the planet that look like waterways, right? Like that look like terrain that has been shaped by water. And these were translated into English as I've seen canals on Mars, which would imply that there's intelligent life on Mars, right? Something is making straight-edged canals. And that misunderstanding inspired, as I've understood it, H.G. Wells to write his fiction of Martians coming to Earth and invading it. So this is the archetypical Martians invade Earth story. And it's based off of a misunderstanding, which I think is kind of cool.
Yes, that is kind of cool. That is a very fun little history tidbit. And what H.G. Wells did was essentially write one of these invasion narratives, but with aliens at the center of it, which later he commented, and I don't know if this is a sort of like he said this later in hindsight to fit with the zeitgeist of decolonization and anti-imperialist sentiment that followed in the 20th century, but he said that the inspiration for the plot was the catastrophic effect of European colonization on the Aboriginal Tasmanians. And it has brought historians to argue that the book is supposed to question the morality of imperialism by casting Victorian England as the victim of imperialism and not the perpetrator. This is all to say the word. Cool. Yeah. And the War of the Worlds has been adapted countless times. And one notable thing about War of the Worlds, like other old pieces of literature, is that it's because it's such a simple and classic premise at this point, we tend to adapt War of the Worlds to reflect whatever the contemporary anxieties of the times are. And for example, the movie that most people will be familiar with, the Spielberg adaptation starring Tom Cruise, is very much about 9/11 and the Iraq War.
Yeah, so I feel kind of funny because I've read the book and now I've watched this shitty adaptation, like the 2025 one, not the Spielberg one. So I feel like I have I have the inverse of what the common knowledge of this movie probably is.
Yeah, it's the Spielberg one is really good.
I've watched everything but the popular one, is what I'm trying to say.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, the Spielberg one is like strange. It absolutely scarred me as a child. Second, the finale is weird. Because it's weirdly not in the same tone of the rest of the movie. And it just feels strange. But good thing that in 2025, Amazon Prime decided to fix what Spielberg could not achieve.
Fix War of the Worlds, yeah. I was about to say, enough of this speaking of honorable media and interesting anti-imperialist intent that may or may not have been there.
Yeah,
let's get to Amazon's shit adaptation of this story.
Yeah, Ceres, tell me, what contemporary fear does 2025's War of the Worlds speak to, and how well does it handle the topic?
Data privacy. It's interesting. So this movie, I think this movie is the ultimate example of ideas are cheap, execution matters. Conceptually, this movie is sort of a a one room show in which we have one man who is a surveillance operative sitting inside of a government bunker, interacting via Zoom calls and video calls to the world outside around them. And he is, fiercely protective of his family, who he uses his surveillance technology to watch, which is probably a bad thing, when an alien invasion starts. And it turns out the alien invasion is a biomechanical hybrid invading force that wants to feed on the data that we have collected in order to train its, AI algorithms better. And so that it can become smarter and more intelligent. And hey, you know what? While we're at it, maybe it even wants to steal some DNA. We don't know. And it requires through the combined efforts of this man and his son and his daughter, who are each experts either in hacking or in the creation of viruses or editing of DNA. I wasn't exactly clear what her specialization was. They, as a family, overcome the challenge and formulate a virus that can take down the invaders. Conceptually, I think that can be a pretty good movie. I think that can be a pretty interesting adaptation of War of the Worlds, with the ultimate moral of the story being all this data that we collect on people is problematic. But the execution of this movie is so terrible that it ends up being like an hour and a half long advertisement for like Amazon Prime,
I don't think
Microsoft
that's an
Teams,
accident.
Zoom, WhatsApp. Like it's chock full of product placement and feels oddly more like a Super Bowl advertisement than a movie. The script is atrociously written. Like the dialogue is really, really bad. The script doesn't understand the subject material it's talking about in any way, both hacking and like bioengineering and
just the
data.
concept of what data is.
Yeah, exactly. Is fully misrepresented and misunderstood on like every single level. And so in the end, and then, Ice Cube does his best job being the protagonist. But he's not
struggling heroically alone in his room, probably.
Exactly. I mean,
just reacting to the screen.
It's really not the best acting in the world, and it's also not the setting that really allows the best acting in the world to shine, because it's a lot of people staring at screens going, what the hell? Right? And being in situations in which people commonly have thoughts but don't emote, right? Like when you're watching news on your phone, you don't just every 3 seconds have an exclamation that highlights your emotional reaction to what you're seeing, right? Often people go dead-faced, right, when they watch something on a screen, right? And so, he has to sit here for 2 hours and not be dead-faced, but be really reactive to everything he's seeing. He's going, holy crap, that's huge, let's go. Oh, no, right? He's kind of got to overact in this room by himself in order to let you know how his character feels about everything at every given point in time.
Yeah. All that is missing is that he jumps off his chair and starts making a little victory dance. I was kind of hoping he would do it by the end of the movie. Just because at that point, we might as well.
Yeah, the timeline of the movie is garbage and completely implausible and very difficult to follow, because on one hand, events seem to be happening that would require much time, like battles are being fought against aliens, victories are being racked up, casualties are happening. At the same time, there's a side plot happening in real time where where his daughter is injured and she's bleeding out, and like 39 victories against aliens are fought in the time it takes her to take a 1 mile drive in a Tesla. So it's also a Tesla advertisement to a hospital, right? And it's just like it's weird. It feels like the whole movie doesn't know how anything works. It feels like the movie doesn't understand how the government works, where there's like a rogue general that institutes a surveillance program on their own, which would like never work. The movie doesn't seem to understand like how hackers work, because when the hackers run out of data, they seem to die / not be able to hack anymore. It doesn't seem to, there's so many aspects of it that are super weird, and I think the biggest crime at the end of the day is that it's just all an advertisement. The movie Act 3 hinges upon our protagonist ordering a SanDisk, so that they also paid for product placement, $19 USB stick flash drive to his government building, and an Amazon delivery drone tech has to deliver it flying past the aliens to get to him. Very explicit about the fact that this is Amazon Air, the future of shipping, and he needs to fly this drone to him. And it's just, yuck.
Yes.
There's like no integrity at all
No.
in terms of product placement. Like
No.
20 different companies paid for product placement, and so it's weird because his desktop feels like your desktop,
Yeah.
This feels like how it feels to go to work and like, send people Gmail. So Gmail also paid. Because you might know that, okay, this is something for the audience, not everybody knows this. Every single time you see a brand in a movie, 100% of the time, it has been paid for that it is there. If nobody pays for it, movies have a very strict discipline and a very strict practice of replacing all real life brands either with fake brands or with no brands, right? So, for example, on cars, they take off the logo off of a car, right? And for phones, they'll cover up the Apple symbol or the Android symbol or whatever, right? So, like, the fact that there are like at least probably 20 brands that in this movie that are shown prominently on screen, every single one of them paid. And at that point, it makes me think that this movie actually didn't have a budget, in the sense that, like, I don't think any money, it seems to me like no money was actually offered up front. All the money that this movie had to be made, because it is clearly been made on a shoestring budget, must come from the product placement. This might be the only movie that was profitable before it was released.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. So listen, you've been saying a lot of things, and I think that if someone listen to this podcast and doesn't really know what we're talking about, it might be a little bit lost. So let's start from the beginning. Mm-hmm. Who is Ice Cube, and like, what's his incredible job?
Yeah, Ice Cube is a DHS surveillance tech Department of Homeland Security surveillance techs in the USA, and his job is to surveil surveillance risks, or surveil safety risks, whatever those may be. It seems like he's really in charge of the entire country and any category of threat, because like a variety of people ask him for a variety of things throughout the course of the movie. And one of the ways that the movie communicates tension is him getting alerts on his computer, being like, oh, so-and-so wants this, so-and-so wants that. This is the first part where the movie doesn't understand like surveillance, or he's made out to be a hacker, right? But he's just working with a graphical user interface. Like, he's clearly just using a program where he like left clicks on a map and goes like show available drones, and then he left clicks on the drone and it says take control of drone, right? There's no real hacking involved. This is just a computer program that has somehow been inserted into every camera and every single drone all across the United States.
Yes, and it's so funny that like whatever he clicks on, it's the same 3 like check marks that he gets. No known breaches, no suspicious activity, and something else. Like whether he's pointing at the White House or like a random cop on the street.
Yeah,
it's the same protocol.
Same categories of information. It's funny because from a programming standpoint, it implies that there is a truly Herculean task of managing a database somewhere in the background. And I kind of was joking. I want to see the movie about the guy who manages the database that makes this guy's software work, because it's like, I mean, to be like, oh yeah, there's a building on, this street, there's a person in front of the street, managing all. He knows, it seems like he doesn't even just have video, like he has audio, because the things he uses the surveillance equipment on his children as well. And he seems to know that his daughter's drinking a soy latte. He knows that you can see from a security footage if she's getting a coffee or not, right? or if it's in a coffee cup, but he knows specifically it's a latte and specifically that it's soy, right? Like he knows all this information. He can see the inside of her refrigerator. When it comes
Yes.
to his daughter's boyfriend slash fiance slash husband, I don't know.
I think
He's
it's
an
his boyfriend.
Amazon. I think it's just boyfriend.
I mean, he has saved him as the
He
boyfriend, even though she's pregnant. I mean, they don't have to get married before having kids. It's
it's
just notable.
2025, Thea. God,
I know it's
conservative.
2025, but you know how movies are.
Yeah,
You know how movies
exactly.
work. I feel like if she was pregnant and he hadn't married her yet, that would be a plot point, or at least a topic of conversation.
You'd think, right? Anyways, the only point
How
I'm trying to make is
progressive
that
this
guy's an
movie is.
Amazon driver, and when Ice Cube clicks on his car, he's got 5 feeds on him from 5 different angles, which really makes you wonder what the inside of that Amazon car looks like. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, not the most flattering image for Amazon, but I guess Amazon doesn't realize it.
yeah,
They think it's good and cool.
it's good and cool that we have 5 cameras pointed at our employees at all times on the inside of a van. And that the government has access to it. So,
Yeah.
anyways, the point that I'm just trying to make is we're introduced to Ice Cube as a character who with a lot of powers, right? Like
Yeah.
he can see anywhere, he can hack into anybody's phone, he can see the inside of your refrigerator. He has like a ton of surveillance information.
Also, to be clear, this is a movie portrayal of like a hacker, as in he's not a hacker.
Yeah.
And
It's all the
is
graphic
doing
user interface he has.
Yeah, he's doing unskilled labor, essentially. Like anyone who knows how to operate a mouse could do what he's doing because he's mostly literally clicking on a drone and he's selecting commandeer drone. And now he controls the drone. And the only ways he uses the command line is to use very basic commands that seem to be like already made for him, like generate zoom master key.
Exactly.
And then he just
Zoom
copies.
also paid to be in this movie.
Yeah, Zoom paid for being in this movie, and to show how easy it is to hack Zoom for a government hacker, I guess.
To show off the Zoom master key feature.
Yeah. No, it's incredible.
Yeah, no,
like, also, he's
it's
alone.
absolutely not hacking. This is like what somebody who knows nothing about programming thinks hacking is, I believe. And also what someone who knows nothing about surveillance thinks surveillance is. That,
also,
the government just has access to every laptop and phone camera at every given point in time.
Yeah. Also, it seems strange to me in the beginning that like this man was alone the only person in the DHS, Department of Homeland Security, responsible for monitoring the Washington, D.C. area. Just seems like more people would be required.
He was getting alerts about New York, Miami.
I was about to say, but then we found out that he is not only responsible for surveilling Washington, D.C., he is responsible for the entire country, nay, maybe the entire world. Unclear. But he
really
has
seems to be
satellites.
the only employee at the DHS who's doing anything about this. But
he's
anyway, we're getting ahead
alone.
of ourselves.
Like there's laptops and offices in the background, just empty.
Exactly. But we're getting ahead of ourselves. So we're introduced to him and his power suite, and the sort of setting that we exist in. What is the conflict that starts to actually, I guess first, what is the conflict he has with his kids? Because that comes first before the actual conflict of the movie.
Yes. Well, yeah, several conflicts are introduced. First, his son is a bizarre character who has is a highly educated like college graduate who allegedly stays home all day playing video games, which he claims is his job. And then he says that he's a tech visionary in a pre-funding stage, which not only means nothing, but that's not what playing video game is like. If you were a tech visionary in a pre-funding stage, your job would be like at the best developer of video games, but you wouldn't be playing them. Like, it's a terrible lie.
Is
it's
like not a job.
It's not a job in a pre-funding stage. Okay,
tech
so
visionary is something someone would say about you once you were successful
you're
already.
Very good at it.
Exactly. Like you can't just go out and like do tech visionary stuff. You know what I mean? The same way you can't go out and become an athletic legend. or something. You need to pick a specific sport. You need to actually progress through that sport. And then at the end of a successful career, you could be an athletic legend, right? Same as a tech visionary, you need to choose a specific tech, sell that specific tech successfully, then you can be a tech visionary.
Yes.
And so,
we're embarking this college graduate in the junior tech visionary junior position. But, after a year or two, you become a senior.
It's kind of like The Sims, how careers work in The Sims, where it's like, oh, I'm in the tech visionary career,
Yeah. And again, he says his job is to play video games. So not what a tech visionary would be doing. But yeah. So Ice Cube wants him to join him as the DHS because he needs a friend at work because he's alone. He desperately needs a second.
And also, he believes in what he's doing.
He very much
thinks what he's doing is important. We're the good guys. We watch people. We keep you safe.
And so that you should probably figure out by now that he is the type of guy who would never show love to his kids, which is why he has such a fraught relationship with them. His son very much disapproves morally of what Ice Cube does, while his daughter instead is a scientific genius, a science visionary, who has who has developed some breakthrough virus, which seems to be a bioweapon.
Not sure if it's a virus. Yeah, so there was a very brief news clipping of her looking into a microscope, and then it said that she had devised some kind of genetic code, which they call cannibal code, that invokes the body to destroy cancer cells. So this sounds like somebody who misunderstood immunotherapy for cancer.
Yes.
And then wrote a plot line based on it. I think. I'm not trying to be a shit. Generously, I think that's what happened. Somebody explained immunotherapy to this person in very loose terms. You teach the body to attack its own cancer cells, and they wrote a headline based off of that where they used the terminology wrong, and that's why it's kind of, we don't really understand what it's supposed to mean.
Though the news, I think, is like BBC or is like a mainstream news outlet.
Yeah.
So I would believe that they would misunderstand it.
That's actually part of the accuracy of the movie.
Yeah, it's diegetic. The ignorance is diegetic. So, in probably these conversations with his kids are the most realistic part of the movie, because the son is an unemployed guy who thinks he's a tech visionary because he plays video games. His daughter is doing actual work and is very upset that her father keeps invading her privacy. And she is clearly going to go slowly. She's drifting towards going no contact with him. Yeah. Because he was not invited to the baby shower.
Yeah.
At the same time,
it's important to note about the daughter. It's going to be an important plot point later. The daughter is like very heavily pregnant. So it's just, that's an important thing to note for the plot later. It becomes relevant. So
are you
She's like, no, I'm not joking, right? It is relevant. Like when she gets injured and stuff like that, it's part of the stakes, and it's part of why she can't move as easily and stuff like that. I mean, so it's just important to know. She's like 7 to 8 months pregnant at this point, it seems.
It is part of the stakes, but I am going to argue that the metal rod in her leg is the main reason she can't move very well.
Yeah, but it's like, I don't know. I feel like it makes it clear why she's having such a hard time in general, also running before the metal rod and everything, and why he's so worried about her, right? I mean,
sure. He's very controlling. He's invading her privacy constantly. He's also invading his son's privacy. He refunds and uninstalls a video game from his son's
that he is
laptop.
Currently playing, which is not possible to do from the Department of Homeland Security, but we will pretend it's possible. Did Steam pay for product placement? Did it say that it was Steam?
No. It wasn't Steam.
You see, you don't pay, you don't get shown in the movie.
Yeah, if it had been Steam, we would remember it because we would have seen the whole interface. But no, it wasn't Steam.
And you know what? Like the game he was playing was called like Quantum Worlds, right? Which is also not a video game I'm familiar with, so I'm pretty sure they made it up. If I bet they reached out to No Man's Sky or something like one of those games, and was like.
Also interesting that like the son doesn't commandeer the drone. Oh no, he does commandeer a drone at the end, but they never make the connection that he is training on the flight simulator of Quantum Worlds. But I think at some point that was something. Because I remember
it's
looking
funny
at
also
it
because in the climax he can't commandeer a drone. He just goes, "How do I do it? Like, how do I give me control of this drone?" And the sister's like, "I don't know how to give you control of the drone." And then the dad over the intercom is like, "Right click and click control drone."
Yeah, control drone command, you fool. Well, but at least he knows how to he knows how to pilot the drone. Also, quick question: was the son training to do a drone 9/11 strike?
No.
I don't know. He bought a flight simulator and he seemed very comfortable piloting a Saber drone, whatever. You know, the civilian
Raptor,
murdering ones.
I think they called it.
Yeah,
I think they
you
called
know
it a
the ones.
Raptor drone.
Yeah.
Okay,
So,
anyways, it's at this point in time
before,
that...
Wait. We have one more thing to bring up.
Mm-hmm.
The cyber terrorist with the profile picture.
Yeah, exactly. So this is at this point in time, our protagonist Ice Cube directs his attention to his actual job instead of surveilling his kids. And on the docket today, there was an upload of a YouTube video from Disruptor, an online hacker who wants to leak information about the government. It's his job to track him down, and he tries to track him down via the IP address that was used to upload the YouTube video, which seems incredibly obvious, and I'm not a hacker at all, and that's the first thing I would think of. So I have to imagine that the hacker was at least using a VPN to upload their goddamn video to YouTube.
Also,
so that it looks like the upload came from somewhere it didn't come from.
Well, speaking of VPNs and rerouting, isn't it so funny what we found out later in hindsight? Because he is technically like rerouting his connection.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's part of his power suite. Anyways, so Ice Cube is in a meeting with the guy from the Avengers.
Agent Coulson from the Avengers.
Yeah. What's his name? Coulson.
I don't know.
Agent Coulson.
I mean, Coulson is the...
Yeah, Agent Coulson from the Avengers is his boss. He's the leader of the FBI. Like, it's the same actor playing a similar role.
The guy could have just
he does
gotten
have a different
promotion.
Name. But yeah.
Well, because Loki kills him and then he comes back and he has to change names so that Loki doesn't come after him a second time.
Every time you get resurrected, you have to change names, right? That's why he's Jesus H. Christ, not Jesus Christ anymore. So anyways, we have a mission where we go to the location the video was uploaded from, and it's obviously a dud, so yay, okay. But in the meantime, NASA Sandra has been sending Ice Cube a bunch of videos about the weather going weird. And he keeps saying, we don't watch weather, we just watch people, but the weird weather gets paid off all of a sudden as what happens there.
Well, if you're familiar with what War of the Worlds is, which you are because you listened to the beginning of this episode, it's time for the aliens to fall from the sky in the form of asteroids, which really demands the question, what was up with the weather? Why couldn't it just be asteroids? And the answer is because in the original novel, there are storms. And I think that if I'm not wrong, in the Spielberg movie, they figure out that basically the lightning is actually the aliens teleporting themselves to Earth, and that the tripods were buried underground like a long time before. So they have basically what they're doing with the lightning is teleporting themselves in the cockpits of vehicles that are already there. Yeah. Here, they don't serve any purpose, and then asteroids land, and the asteroids are the tripods, and that's it.
And what can you tell us visually about the asteroids and then the tripods that come out of them?
Well, the first thing that we notice is that this is clearly stock footage with maybe some extra lightning effect slapped on it to make it look weird. Second, Ice Cube takes control of satellite cameras, so he has just like a view from space.
Yep.
Which is interesting because the premise of this movie is like, what if we were limited to a screen and we couldn't do all the cool shots that we usually have? Instead, we have to tell the story through a computer screen. But then immediately, a lot of this premise is negated by the fact that he has cameras everywhere. So actually we can get all the shots that we want, but they will have a little diegetic like monitor aesthetic to the camera instead of just being what the camera is filming, like it would be in a
half of this
normal
movie is stock footage, right?
Yeah.
Half of the way the movie pays for itself is that like most of the shots are not relevant, and like there's a shot shown of his house burning at one point. Spoilers. For this terrible movie, and it's like clearly stock footage from a crane. That's
Also, there's already firemen in that shot, and like A, how quickly did the firemen intervene? B, how are there still firemen at this point in the movie?
Yeah, okay, so let's talk about the stock footage a little bit more then at this point. So the stock footage that's used in the movie consistently to patch gaps in like when a specific shot is needed, it's a clever idea. The problem is the stock footage doesn't perfectly fit the scenario of an alien invasion. So lots of the stock footage implies little details that are contradicted later. For example, there's stock footage that is shown to us that is said to be live, showing a plane taking off, but in the shot previous, that was also said to be live, the plane was already in the air. So which is it? Is the plane taking off, or is it already in the air, right? Or which is it? Is there an alien invasion and everything's in chaos? Or it's not an alien invasion and the fire department is here to put out the fire, right? So like multiple stock footage shots are cheap to use, sure, but details about them imply things that are not true. For example, at one point, when the army is being defeated, stock footage is shown of a rusting tank graveyard, probably like from the Soviet Union or something. That's what it looks like. And it's like, at this point, the aliens have taken the data out of data centers, and it's like, how did that make the tanks rust, though?
Yeah, it takes 10 minutes, the tank rusted because the anti-rust software was rust.
Are tanks protected from oxidation via the copious amount of data that's rubbed into their shell?
Yeah, you coat the tank with a nice layer of data, make them nice and slimy.
You need some data polish to really cream it up.
Yes. Yes. So we see all of this, and it's awful. We also get a shot of from inside an airplane. Someone is live streaming from an airplane with their phone, apparently, which is how you can see an asteroid cutting off the wing of an airplane. And then Ice Cube's friend in the FBI who was doing the raid on Disruptor gets close to one of the asteroids so that we get a camera there, and then we see that these asteroids are the tripods. Legs start basically protruding out of them, and very quickly we are confronted with
slight correction. It's not the friend. It's not the friend from the FBI. It's NASA Sandra.
No. NASA
the friend from the FBI comes later. She also encounters a tripod, but the tripod is fully unfolded and fully functioning at that point.
Okay.
And is in a different location.
Right? The friend.
No,
FBI
neither
friend
one of them dies.
I think FBI friend is supposed to die because he screams Sheila.
I think don't we get one more shot of her?
No, we get the Sandra NASA shot.
Yeah, I mean the first time we interact with the asteroids and they get touched and they open up and tripods start coming off.
Oh yeah, you're right. Sandra NASA sees it because I commented that it was crazy that just because she works for NASA, she needs to get out of her lab now and go get close to an asteroid that probably is like the temperature.
Go touch it.
Yeah, the temperature of like molten lava. She just goes up to it. But yeah, these things unfold. They're the tripods. They have a clean white kind of if Apple designed the tripod aesthetic.
So if you're not familiar with War of the Worlds, the aliens come in these giant tripod mechs, basically, right? So imagine a giant mech that's being piloted from the top of it that has like 3 spindly legs and moves through the countryside, blasting stuff. That's what we mean when we say tripod. What did you think of the tripod CGI in this movie?
I've seen worse mobile games.
We were watching it. I was like, this is some Infinity Blade in rendering. Holy shit. Do you guys... this might be an extremely niche reference, but maybe some of you as a kid downloaded that app from the App Store where you could take a recording of like the environment around you and then put a pre-made special effect on it of like a helicopter crashing or like an alien landing or like an asteroid hitting. If you remember that app, you remember the quality of the CGI in the rest of this movie. It is look, I understand watching a movie with a lower budget means you might get worse CGI. It's something you have to accept, or it's going to bug you for the whole movie because it never gets better at any point.
No,
It's
it actively
never
gets worse.
it's never close to even photorealistic. It's always like video game textures over top of real life footage. And yeah, I don't want to harp on it too much, but it was kind of funny. It did take me out a little bit.
Yeah, the best shots of the tripods come now, I think, when he watches them through like news or through weird cameras from different angles.
People running away recording with their phone.
Exactly, or like shots of the tripods in far away distance at night, maybe because they look the best. Like like it just the bad CGI is disguised better in these circumstances. And Ice Cube does very good intelligence work where he looks at all these as different tripods. He looks where they are roughly, and then he writes down they're attacking the water thingy. They're heading towards the electricity factory where they make all the electricity to make the data.
Briefly before that, what does he do when he left clicks on the videos of them?
Oh, I don't remember. What does he do?
He downloads metadata, and the metadata of the video.
Oh, incredible. Oh, the metadata.
You remember how you always like remind me that The Hobbit had a romantic subplot between Gandalf and Galadriel?
Yes.
I feel like I just did the same for you. I just unlocked a psychic pain. It's like, wait, no, did they do that? Yeah, remember? He downloads the metadata of the tripods and the metadata.
I harped on it so much as well.
Tripods. Yeah. The metadata of the tripods says like how fast they're going, how big they are, and it's like
estimated weight.
That's not what video metadata would have in it. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
So yeah.
Also, thank God.
So he knows everything about them. He knows what they're attacking. He knows if they're hostile or not. It's all in the video metadata that, again, I assume some heroic programmer behind the scenes is curating for it.
Whoever, like, we'll get to it to the end of the movie, but like the real hacker that saves the world in all of this is like the guy who programmed his software, not him.
Exactly. But they're attacking everything, and they seem to be primarily attacking like all the things you would actually expect aliens to attack if they were doing a hostile invasion. They're attacking infrastructure, they're attacking military targets, and we basically watch
nuclear
Ice Cube
power plants.
Yeah. And so we watch Ice Cube create a Google Sheets document, basically, where he types in location, what they're attacking, and whether or not they're being hostile or not, with a little clip from a video proving it in each case as well, and basically getting ready for his Zoom meeting with the president.
Yeah. They have a Zoom meeting with the president, and I think that like he describes how they are now slowly diverting their attention from generic infrastructure towards nuclear power plants, and that's why we can focus our armies on like areas with nuclear power plants, because
the insane thing is like in the 20 minutes of breaking news that these asteroids are landing and these things are standing up, like I know it might feel like half a day has passed at this point, but like 20 minutes have passed at this point. Yet somehow the military are all already in position and just waiting for the president to say, should we attack or not? Which again, does not feel like how the army is organized, that the army just does a whole bunch of shit, gets into position, and then writes back to the president, should we attack though? It feels like the president would be the one saying, go get in position, form up, whatever, right?
Like, I mean, I assume that there are protocols that are already approved where like before the president even says something, if something of this magnitude happens, you prepare. We're not wasting time. I think I wasn't bothered by that. I was bothered by the fact that it happens in 20 minutes. But the idea that the army
the
would
whole
function
thing
like
read
this.
is weird to me, right? Because generally speaking, the president would have like a bunch of generals, right? And the generals would be the people actually making the orders. And only for like really significant decisions is the president even required. But in this case, it feels like, I don't know, it feels like the generals are operating entirely independent of the president. Like, why not just text the president and be like, can we proceed? And the president be like, yeah, proceed with the plan the way you're supposed to. Anyways, we have to have a Zoom meeting about it. Ice Cube tells them what they're doing. The government thinks about it for like 0.1 seconds, and then what does the president say?
The president say, and I'm paraphrasing a little bit here because I don't remember the exact quotes, but he says that we shall let this war of the world begin. War of the Worlds begin.
He said the title.
He said
the title of the movie. Oh my gosh!
I pointed to the screen and clapped.
Exactly. Oh my gosh, that's the movie I'm watching. So
this is the
it's
point
always a
where
great
Ceres
script.
was reminded that this is a War of the Worlds movie.
Exactly. For real. At the start of the movie, I was like, I wonder what the plot of the movie is going to be. And Theo was like, it's War of the Worlds. And I was like, oh yeah, right. I forgot. I got so caught up in the surveillance and family drama. Oh, by the way, Ice Cube's wife is dead. We learned that as well. As if it was not enough that he was falling out with his kids, his wife is dead. That will be important later as well.
His wife is dead. The last voice message that he replays of her all the time says to be nice to the kids. And he has...
Which he doesn't seem to listen to.
I was going to say, he re-listens to it on screen once. And I think he does that because he keeps forgetting.
But yeah, anyways, I got so caught up in the family drama and the hacking that I forgot that this is actually War of the Worlds.
One note before this War of the Worlds. Yes, before the War of the Worlds begins, his daughter got caught up in an attack by the tripods, and she was injured and had like a metal rod sticking out of her leg. At which point, Ice Cube commandeered a Tesla to auto drive her to a hospital. And this is a 1 mile drive.
It's a 1 mile drive, and that'll be important because we're about to win 40 military victories in the time it takes to get to the hospital.
Yeah, we cut to the montage.
Well, actually, no, I just wanted to say, it was this point in the movie when like already Teams had been shown, WhatsApp had been shown, Zoom had been shown, Google had been shown, and now Tesla was being shown, Amazon had been shown. It was at this point in product placement where he remotely overrides a Tesla to drive her to the hospital by autonomously driving and like remotely online activating the AC and like opening and closing windows. Clearly product placement Tesla paid for to show that, isn't it cool that you can like remote control this car with the Tesla app, basically, that you can turn on and off the AC or roll up and down the windows. Like clearly that's product placement they paid for because it didn't serve the plot in any meaningful way, right? And he's also monitoring her heart rate through her like Apple Watch, which he keeps saying is way too high, and it's like 100 beats a minute. It's like, I'm pretty sure that's my heart rate when I jog, according to the machine at the gym, but okay.
Yes, incredible. Absolutely incredible.
But this was the point in the movie when all of these different technologies and different corporations had been mentioned that I really felt like, wow, I've never had a movie so convincingly make me feel like the year 2025 is a dystopia already. Right? It's like, this is awful. All of these giant tech corporations own all this data in this setting, and you can and they're collaborating with the government.
And it's so funny how the movie desperately, heroically tries to walk the non-existing line between tech, like the government spying on you is bad, but private corporations being everywhere is good. And that line is non-existing. But this movie heroically tries to find it and walk it.
Yeah. It was just...
Yeah.
That was the point in the movie where I was like, wow, do we live in a dystopia?
Inconclusive.
Yeah, probably.
So, the montage. He goes to his little box.
Actually, sorry, I'm sorry. One last thing we have to cut in before the montage. The son shows up and wants to tell him a secret, but keeps saying, "Dad, I need to tell you something," instead of just telling him the thing he needs to tell him. And so the conversation goes nowhere because the dad's like, "Shut up, you stupid son. Run away from the danger. Get out of there. I don't have time to listen to your stuff. I gotta do this." And now montage.
Yeah, now the montage. Ice Cube goes to his little, one of his little windows that he uses to commandeer cameras around the world. And he types in war map, and then in location, he types world. And then he activates maybe the most fascinating piece of UI ever devised, a world map with a bunch of glowing red dots. Distributed.
There's like 12 in Siberia, but like only 4 in Europe.
And one in Japan. The one in Japan drives me crazy because they make it clear that the machines are after like technology and nuclear power. And I'm pretty sure Japan is doing pretty well at that.
Yeah, it's funny. So it's a world map with red dots that are completely evenly spaced. And actually, if you pause the movie, which we did because we're stupid and shits like that, if you pause the movie and look at the distribution of dots, clearly somebody just clicked along the map in like a little path, right?
Yeah, you can
create
track,
a roughly even-looking distribution of red dots.
Yeah, there's like
but the problem is it's a Mercator projection. So like there's 12 dots in northern Siberia where nobody fucking lives and nobody cares about these robots. And then like in all of Africa, like in all of Central Africa, there's like 3 dots, which of course is a huge part of the globe, right? Or like even in Europe, right? Like Germany, France, Spain, Portugal, Belgium, the Netherlands, and England combined have 5 dots. Which is less than half the number of dots in northern Siberia.
Yeah, countries with a lot of nuclear power plants, especially France and the UK.
Exactly.
Yeah, so we witnessed this beautiful map, and it has little counters at the bottom for like battles fought, victories, losses, casualties, hostiles
number of
down.
Troops deployed.
Yeah, number of
enemy hostiles deployed.
And like it's 25,000 troops deployed. And I'm just thinking that cannot be the worldwide.
For the world class, like they were like saying this once in a lifetime cooperation between the USA and China and every country in the world. We're all fighting together to fight the aliens. 20,000 troops deployed.
That's less than like any country in World War One.
Yeah.
That's less than Napoleon.
Most of the Napoleonic wars were fought with more troops. Yeah.
Exactly. And we are, I must say, like in terms
I would like
of
to remind the whole world that China has a standing infantry of 1 million soldiers.
Yeah. It's fascinating also that the ratio of deaths, like the death toll ratio is like the aliens are winning. But if we look at the number of victories, we are winning a surprising amount.
Yeah, we got 39 victories and like way less losses.
Yeah, Ice Cube is like shouting at the screen like, "Yeah, take your asses back to space, aliens."
Yeah, we're watching videos of like tanks shooting at aliens and the aliens fall over and stuff. And this is all clearly stock footage. You can tell it's stock footage from the fact that they had to censor the faces of all the soldiers in the stock footage, otherwise they would get sued.
Yeah.
In the time it takes us to win these 39 victories, shortly thereafter, the daughter arrives at the hospital after the slowest Tesla ride ever. The movie puts us into suspense. She basically arrives at the hospital, but then appears to be sitting in an office, and there appears to be no hospital staff, and that is never explained. But luckily, her helpful boyfriend, the Amazon driver, shows up and uses Amazon packing tape to tourniquet/patch the wound, because she yanked the metal rod out of her leg thinking that would stop the bleeding, even though she is a bioscientist.
Yes.
And would obviously know that yanking the stopper out of the bottle makes the bottle drain, i.e. yanking the metal rod out of your leg will make you bleed out, but whatever.
Yes. Also, it's so funny that like probably for like legal reasons, they had Ice Cube say, "No, don't use tape to seal a wound. That's a bad idea," which is correct. And then they just ignored that. Like
it just works.
Yeah, it just works. The guy says like, "Hey, he doesn't say let me do my job, but he's like, just let me do this." And then the
Yeah.
wife goes, "Dad, just let him do this." And then Ice Cube says, "I guess you're right," because his Amazon check
Yeah.
just cleared.
Exactly. It's crazy how much they reference Amazon. One of the recurring themes of this video, of this movie, is referring to government surveillance as checking what's in people's Amazon carts. You might think that
Yes.
that's a weird way to reference it, and I would agree with you, but it is referenced 3 times. Like, at
Yeah.
least 3 times in the movies. It
Government
is
spying on
government
corporation
surveillance
bad.
equated with checking on what people have in their Amazon carts.
Yeah, like people spying. Yeah, it's like you can spying on people is like not as bad as spying on like corporate data or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, you hack their phone, that's fine. But if you know what's in the Amazon cart, holy shit, man.
That's
Um,
that's the beginning of the slippery slope.
this is also during this part of the movie. There's been some character development happening, but it's really bad, and I don't want to spend that much time talking
No,
about
it's
it. But
bad.
basically, the daughter has the kind of monologue you only ever find in a movie that nobody would say in real life, where she says all the subtext of the situation, the subtext that he doesn't have the power he thinks he has, that being able to view things is not the same as being able to interact with things, and that, he never wanted to leave his office building before, and now ironically he can't leave because it's in government lockdown, so he can't go and save her, and so he has to trust other people, yada yada, blah blah blah. He writes an email to his daughter in case he dies, instead of just telling her what's on his mind. And as we'll see later, he will also use that email to address his son by just adding "and Dave" to the header.
Subtle movie. I just want to say one thing on this topic.
Mm-hmm.
There is, for most of the movie, he is now from at the beginning of the movie, and presumably for most of his professional life, he has been breaching people's civil liberties and privacy,
Mm-hmm.
and that's bad.
Yeah.
Yet somehow the turn, his change of mind comes at the one time where he actually helps his daughter by saving her life with his
Yeah.
global overreach machine.
Yeah.
So it's like
The
how
one time the global overreach machine seems like maybe actually it would be good to use, right?
it
Like
saves a
you'd be
life.
like,
The one
yeah,
time that it's actually saving.
99% of the time this program is inactive, but if a national emergency is declared, maybe we can turn this thing on.
Yeah, like this is the time that makes him realize, oh shit, I've been overreaching. I am too much of a controlling. I'm too controlling, he thinks, while saving his daughter's life by controlling a Tesla that
Exactly.
is right next to her. And
Yep.
boy, thank God that he can just basically commandeer the Amazon truck that her
Yeah.
boyfriend drives to talk to him. Thank God he can do that, because if he couldn't do it, then he wouldn't be able to reach her and save her
Yeah.
life. So maybe machine good, but also no, because this is when he has his change of heart.
Yeah. So, the war against the tripods is going quite well, actually.
Hundreds of victories.
At first. Hundreds of victories. It's going quite well. We're defeating the tripods, yay! But of course, it's a movie, so this doesn't continue. The tripods start echolocating the area around them by making horrible screeching noises. That also corrupt video conveniently, because that makes it easier to obscure the fact that the CGI is not very good. And we find out they're trying to find government data centers, and they're standing in front of the government data centers, and they have this sort of umbilical cord tentacle, glowing black, reddish sort of thing.
If they were going after the data centers, why did they attack the power grid? Seems risky.
Yeah, so I think the idea that the movie wants to give you is that they didn't know where the data centers were. That's why they were releasing these sound bursts, but eventually they have found them. Maybe
Yeah.
the other implication, to me, the implication was also like, oh, first they go for the power grids, but then they're getting their ass kicked by the military. So now they know they need to go to the data centers, because this might not be intuitive to you, audience, but the army cannot fight without data centers. So anyway, we see them go to the data centers. We see NASA Sandra shows us this on a WhatsApp call. She walks through the data center. She sees this umbilical cord. There's these little bugs, these little nanite looking bugs that are like I mean, they're bigger than
They're
nanoparticles,
spiders.
but
They're robot
they're
spiders.
swarms. It's a swarm of robot spiders, I guess, and they're like in the data center. And so Ice Cube pulls up this graphic interface that somebody has created to show when the data center is being drained of
Yep.
data.
Yep. Yep.
So the data is kind of sucked like a fluid from the data center
Yum, 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 yum.
into
Yum,
the
yum, yum,
machine.
yum. You know that when you
is
take
not how data works.
No.
Obviously, you would just, if you download data off of a server, you're just copying it. You're just making a local copy of it. It doesn't get deleted where it is, or there's no reason to delete it where it is. The data, taking data from a computer does not mean that the computer no longer has the data on it.
But
I don't know.
but in
It's just so weird.
hindsight,
It's like
but
treating
in-
data like a fluid. This
Yeah.
game, this movie treats data like gasoline.
Yes,
Like, if you take it out of the
absolutely.
machines, they
But
stop working.
also we find out that data is kind of gasoline because the airplanes just fall out of the sky, helicopters
Exactly.
crash.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. So as soon as we realize this, we realize that the tripods are standing around every single government data center in the world, seemingly of every government. Even though I'm not sure all governments have highly technologically developed, like, militaries the way the US do that rely on IT infrastructure the same way, but whatever. And they drain all the data out of these systems, and all of a sudden, literally, like, fighter jets start falling out of the sky, commercial passenger airplanes start falling out of the sky, tanks become rusty somehow and stop working. We start acquiring way more defeats, and the message is that, like, data is the most precious thing we have. Data runs everything, and without data, like, our military cannot function. And at the same time, NASA Sandra says that these are a mechanical species that processes data in order to become more intelligent, and so they've come to our planet to steal our data. That's why they're here in the first place. Which I guess I can kind of believe. It's an interesting idea that, like, if you had like a fully robotic AI enemy, they might come here just to, like, steal the internet, right? Just to copy the internet to get more data, training data to make their artificial intelligence smarter. Seems kind of like an interesting
but also, Ceres,
idea.
We know how training a model works. You can't just get data and, like, train the model. Like, what kind of data are they using? Like, how are they training? What model do they need to train? That they need his wife's...
It's a complete abstraction, but I still think the idea could be good, but it's not done well in the movie because the movie, again, treats data like gasoline. So this is bad, but at least we know what the bad guys want, and it's at this point that the subplot with the Sun is revealed. So it turns out the Sun is Disruptor, the hacker from the start of the movie,
which we could not possibly have seen coming. No one saw this coming.
It's kind of crazy that he is Disruptor, given the amount of, like, surveillance of his life that his dad had, like, knowing when he buys a Steam game and, like, being able to track the inside of the fridge of his daughter. Like, oh, you never know what your kids are up to. He feels like he's the one parent where that narrative doesn't work.
Yes, and also, it seems incredible that he has never noticed before, given how easy it is for him to figure out that his son is Disruptor.
Yeah, he decrypts the voice with a progress bar and then alters the pitch on it with a pitch slider, and then it turns out to be his son's voice.
And, I mean, I had two thoughts here. I mean, A, if you change an audio file, you can make it sound like whoever you want.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
second,
these days
it's
you
so
would use
easy.
an AI.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? These days you would use a text-to-speech AI, but the movie might predate that.
The movie was conceived in the late 2020s as a result of the pandemic. So,
wait, you mean the early 2020s, right? Or the late teens?
Sorry, I meant the late 2020. Sorry, I meant
okay.
the year, not the 2020s. Yeah, my bad.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
We don't know what horrors the late 2020s are.
I know, I was going to say. Holy shit, they didn't conceive of this movie before they made it. That explains so much.
In the late 2020s, we figure out time travel. And we used it specifically to send this movie back in time. To warn.
To send this movie back in time. So because we don't want to, in the 2020s, we don't want it anymore. We want it to be 5 years in the past already. Anyway, so turns out Dave, the son, is not a useless shit. He's actually a hacker who's been hacking the government. and that there's this Goliath surveillance program that the father does not know about that is collecting all kinds of data on people, and that's why it's drawn the aliens. But not only that, the government knew that this would happen. Aliens have been landing sporadically on this planet for hundreds of years without anybody knowing, seemingly.
Somehow.
Checking in every once in a while if we have enough data worth them eating.
Every time
or
we build a
consuming.
data center, one of these guys shows up, eats it, and leaves.
Exactly. And then and the FBI leader, the Agent Coulson, or the actor at least who plays Agent Coulson, his character, we have a clip of his character on the phone saying like, "Oh, I know it's going to bring the aliens, but we'll have perfect surveillance. We're going to keep humanity safe. I got this." And
It's
these
worth
bureaucrats,
it.
whatever.
Well, but
Yeah,
of
so
course,
he's completely rogue. He's acting completely rogue on this. The government, including, and this was insane, Chuck Schumer, are all specifically telling him not to do this, which I thought was so funny that even in media, Chuck Schumer can manage no more than an ineffectual letter saying, "No, stop it."
Strongly worded tweet by Chuck Schumer. Also, like, Agent Coulson is so sure that the aliens will never get to Goliath because
it's 40 feet under the ground.
It's 40 feet. It's 40 feet under. 40.
It's so small. You could have easily gone like 1,000.
My immediate reaction was the Iranian nuclear program was dug in deeper than that. That's why, like, a couple of months ago,
actually,
the US had to drop a very big bomb on that.
Oh my god, yeah. So, anyways, the other thing that's really weird about this plot point is it seems like Ice Cube already has perfect surveillance. Like, his surveillance system that he has is already so much more advanced than anything the government in real life actually has, like more sophisticated than what the NSA was doing, right? Because the NSA was like getting records after the fact or backdooring into corporate like data when the corporations let them in, right? But like they didn't have access to every single camera in every single room at any given point in time. They had access to like your email and stuff like that. So, or like credit card transactions or things like that. So it's crazy to me that like the Goliath program is somehow supposed to be better surveillance than what they currently have, which appears to be already perfect surveillance. But whatever. Goliath will let us predict people's thoughts. Somehow, it's never explained. It's just a thing. And so the dad realizes he's on the wrong side of history. He realizes his son is actually really smart and really cool. His son invites a bunch of other hackers, and they all design a computer virus together that they're going to inject into the data centers so that when the aliens suck it up, they get sick and they die, which if you've read War of the Worlds or seen the other War of the Worlds is awesome. I mean, that's the plot of War of the Worlds. It's normally a biological virus because they keep sucking the blood out of humans, but, and it's not a virus humanity designs, but I thought this was a fun retwist of it.
Yeah.
So we make the virus. What happens?
Well, at first the virus seems to have some kind of effect. The tripods all collapse. And for a moment it looks like the day is won, but then, oh no, the tripods start shaking, and then they enter their final form, which is no pod, aka the heads detach
just
and
the
start
top
flying.
Of the tripod.
The tripod that detaches, and they just keep doing their shit. But also, now all the tripods kind of locate where the hackers are, and they go to their houses, and one by one we see in their shitty Zoom window just a blast of energy, and then someone screaming or yelling, "They're stealing my data, they're draining my data,
they're taking my data, I can't hack anymore, my data is gone."
Yeah, and then one by one they all die, and then
not
eventually
how it works, but okay.
Not how it works. And then eventually the sun's screen also goes dark, and it's
oh no, was the sun injured?
Was the sun injured? I mean, of course
we
not.
See stock footage of the house burning, but the firefighters are there. We already talked about
firefighters,
it.
Yes. And then the sun calls us. We answer. It's connecting. Doesn't go through. And then the sun is calling us again. We answer again.
Just a weird moment of tension for no reason.
Yeah, and then this time it goes through. And the sun appears to be Back at the home is perfectly intact. We're like, what? But then the son shows that like he turns around and he removes a green screen. He was never at his house. He was at his best buddy's house, which didn't get blown up, I guess.
Yeah, he was at Brian's house because he was, of course, redirecting his signal.
Yes. And I mean,
something none of his other hacker friends did, and therefore died.
Apparently, all the other hackers forgot to turn on their VPN while they were hacking the government. And
oopsie.
And also he decided that the safest place to reroute his data to internet from was his house.
It was his private address.
His own private address.
Not like Tokyo. Just like my house, actually, but I'm not in my house. Psych, you went to the wrong place.
Yeah, also one thing that is so funny is that when everyone's getting attacked by tripods, he stands up and it looks like he's going like to check the window, like there's a tripod out there. And then there's the blast. And at the time I thought, oh, he's going to jump out of the window or something. But then, oh no, he was never his house. But like he still stood up and checked the window, which to me tells me that he's like right across the town, right across the street from his real
exactly.
house.
He's across the street. He's across the street from. He's looking out the window. He's, oh shit, my house is burning down. Oh well, I'm glad I'm at Brian's house.
Yeah, and then I love that like Ice Cube just goes like, my house is gone. But my house is gone.
But my house. Why didn't you have them blow up Brian's house?
Yeah, like, I mean, half of me is like, dude, we're in the middle of an alien invasion. Count yourself lucky that you're like at the DHS building. Second, he's right. Why did you reroute it to his house?
Why did you reroute it to the North fucking Pole?
Exactly, just pick Greenland. I mean, it sucks for the Greenland people, but like, if I was a selfish person who doesn't care about aliens blowing up some Greenlanders, it sounds like a better plan. Also, this way you're not discovered. But so the virus, a simple virus, does not work.
And NASA Sandra, she has an explanation for us.
Second episode in a row with electron microscope images.
Yeah. And she's put them under the microscope and she can see blood cells that look absolutely like human blood cells.
Yep.
On top of like technology.
She even painted them red.
And so she's like, oh yeah, so these are bioorganic hybrids, right? Like they're half meat, half machine. And that's why they can resist a computer virus, because, you know, when you hack a cyborg, the brain part can still take over and still control the rest of the body, I guess. Still really feels like the parts that we saw fly off of the tripods were very technological and very much not biological, but whatever. So,
well, inside of it, it's all like veins and like pulsating shit.
Yeah. And that's why it can fly, because it's like, because, you know,
like a jellyfish.
That's why it can hover. It's from all the blood inside. Anyways, so we realize we're going to need the daughter's help, because the daughter made that cannibal code. Yeah. And DNA is a code. And
so we can just
computer
translate.
Code is a code. So we're just going to translate the genetic code into a computer code and then upload it.
At this point, Ceres was saying, right before this happened, at least it's not as bad as it could be. And I say, what do you mean? He said, at least they're not saying that the DNA, the genetic code, and the computer code can be like translated one into the other. And I say, wait, I think they're about to say this. And then we play. Yeah. And then they say this. And this is another victory that I'm packing right next to all my Star Trek Next Generation victories.
Exactly.
Of like, no, series, it is worse than you think.
Exactly. I always give them the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
And I shouldn't. Yeah. So they translate somehow genetic code into computer code, and they need to inject it into the Goliath database. Injecting it into the normal database won't work anymore, I guess, because they're all empty, and so they're not checking them anymore if anyone deposits any more data there. But so the robots are all headed for Washington, D.C. for the Goliath data center, and they're gonna get the Goliath system, the mother lode of data that, you know, even Ice Cube didn't know about. Ice Cube publishes a quick whistleblower like Goliath is real thing with his own face on it.
Yeah, he takes the time to Photoshop his face on the Disruptor profile picture.
Yeah, he photoshops. Disruptor has a cool animated Discord picture, and he photoshops his face onto it and then uploads it online with the reports being like, "Yeah, Goliath is real. Check it out."
Yes.
Anyways, there's also a brief part where like he's kicked out of the system because he confronts his boss about this, and then he's let back into the system by his son's hacker group.
Yeah.
Anyways, so the point is he now needs to get a flash drive with the virus into the Goliath data center, which is at the bottom of the building, which is where all the aliens are massing. But it's a government data facility. It's a secured facility. They don't let flash drives on the premises. So he has no storage medium with which to transfer the cool virus his son and daughter made into the Goliath data center.
There's not a single hard drive lying around.
There's
the
no
DHF.
way to do it.
So
there's no way.
But thank God for our heroic corporation. Stand up and salute, boys and girls. Because what's the solution service?
Air. Prime Air. Drone delivery. The future of delivery.
This is a quote from the movie. They call it the future of delivery.
Yeah. They've been training us for months. And they specifically make sure to call it Prime Air. So the Amazon driver boyfriend remote controls a drone with the flash drive.
That Ice Cube has to buy.
He has to, in order to activate the drone, Ice Cube has to check out on Amazon, which is insane, but also is so hilarious because of course this was on the whiteboard for the Amazon planning, right? Like when they were whiteboarding this movie, they're like, there must be a scene where somebody checks out from Amazon and it's an important plot point.
Yep. So Ice Cube has to check out from Amazon, get the hard drive, get the drive. The boyfriend pulls out the drone.
USB.
Yes.
Yeah.
The boyfriend pulls out the drone, wears a cool VR like headset, and then starts piloting the drone, and we get these fantastic shots of like first person like piloting through the city of Washington DC, dodging tripods, dodging their beams. The tripods are all incredibly invested in this tiny drone, by the way.
Yeah, oddly, the tripods seem to know what's up. They seem to know that the drone is bad, even though I don't know how they know that. But yeah, so we fly down into the data center. There's a little bit of false tension where it's like, oh no, will the reception reach? Will the battery be enough?
No. Sorry,
but it is.
We cannot skip over the homeless man.
Oh no,
I refuse.
I forgot about that. Okay, yeah, the drone gets knocked out of the air onto its back, unfortunately, and now it's next to a homeless person, but we can't get it up. Like we can't fly because it's on its back. It's like, turtle on its shell.
Yeah.
So what do we do?
We get the homeless person's phone number. Of course, he has a phone. We write him on WhatsApp. Good thing he has WhatsApp.
So this is a prime example of how the database that Ice Cube is using works. So you have the CCTV footage of the bridge, and then you just mouse over the homeless person, and it just says his phone number.
Yeah. And then we get the phone number, we text him, we're like, hey, look, you see the phone? Flip it, the government will give you 1 year of free internet. And the guy
if
goes
you flip
like,
the drone, and they're like, hell nah.
Hell no. So the government, can spy on me? And then they're like, damn, he's right, the government is evil. Well, we can offer you 1,000 euros Amazon gift card. And they create the card, they send him the link, and then after he receives the card, he still does it. What an honorable homeless man this is.
Immediately motivated. $1,000 on Amazon? Holy shit.
Yeah. So he immediately risks his life, flips the drone, at which point the drone takes off again, flies towards a tripod to fly by the tripod, and we see the tripod try to shoot the drone, and shoots right where the drone used to be. So I can only assume that the homeless man is dead.
Yeah, it's actually, you're like, oh, is he? Because it just shot right where he was.
Yeah.
Anyways, Ice Cube has to give up his position at his desk, and his daughter is now the one manning the software. And it's funny because he's kind of giving her tech support over the phone, telling her how to do things. But because he needs to run down to physically plug this thing into this. So the drone gets down there into the basement. Yeah.
We follow him through
like they use the security camera to hack into Goliath by just looking at who the last person is to put in the code, which is legit. But then the code is like a 5-digit number, which is not legit. And has no second factor of authentication at all. It's just like, if you know this these 5 letters, if you know them, you're in, baby. You can hack Goliath.
At this point, sorry, I need to press the buzz again because I need to bring up something that you skipped. Mm-hmm. This climax really could use a ticking timer. And what better ticking timer but 2 airplanes with nuclear warheads heading to Washington, D.C., to nuke the city. Now, the rationale
but they're not going to destroy the Goliath. They're not going to destroy Goliath
because it's 40 feet underground. No. It's safe.
It's 40 feet underground. So it's just going to get buried in rubble so that the bad guys can't get to it anymore.
Yeah. This is incredible.
Because nukes notoriously stop after 40 feet of concrete. Yeah. After that, they're done.
Yeah, I've seen Fallout. That's how they work. There's no giant crater.
So for those of you who don't know, I assume it's none of you, but if you don't know, a nuke vaporizes everything within like a 3-mile radius of it. Like that, the nuke that was dropped on Japan did that. So like
a modern nuke,
whatever modern nukes we have would turn Goliath into plasma and then into
glass.
Nothing.
And glass, at best glass. Also, I need to stress, we already have set up that all the tripods basically in North America from all around the continent have converged somehow within the span of a few hours on Washington. And they are like all around the DHS building, which means that the perfect rationale for this would be we're going to hit all the tripods at once if we blast this zone. Legit rationale.
Shit, it's 2 p.m. It's 2 p.m. in the movie right now. The movie starts with his workday at 9 a.m. and there is a screenshot of the clock going to 2 p.m. later in the movie. So, like, if you had an 8-hour shift on a rural farm, you don't know anything's happened.
Yeah, if you were disconnected from the world, it would be like, weird, no signal. Okay.
Yeah, like if you were at school for these 5 hours, you don't know what happened.
Yes. So.
It's crazy the pace of this movie. Like, anyways.
It's crazy. And again, like the plan is to bury the building in rubble with a nuclear warhead. Which, I mean,
2,
also...
Actually, because there's 2 planes shown that have, like, a nuclear symbol on them.
I assume that like only one would drop it and the other one was backup in case the tripods shoot down a plane. But sure.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I mean, even in the most rational version of this plan, which is you shoot a big missile at the DHS building, which would make it collapse, it's still just rubble. The tripods have big lasers. I think they will still get to Goliath.
I also think that you should just delete Goliath.
Or delete Goliath.
If you're going to bury it in rubble, you're not going to have access to it anyways, seemingly. Because it appears to be in a sealed room that you can't access from the outside. So, like, then at that point, just delete Goliath and they leave. Like, the big thing about Data is, like, it's
very easy to destroy it.
Exactly, right? Like, just overwrite Goliath with 101 copies of the player's handbook.
Well, it's still Data, though. I think they will still be interested.
Overwrite the disc.
It'll still be Data.
Come on, they must be able to discern between data they already have and data that they don't have.
Man, no? Do you think this movie has that ability? Nah.
They would be so easy to manipulate otherwise. You could just have a data center, like, copying the letter I 1 billion times, and they'd be like, ooh, data, nom nom nom.
I mean, I think it would work. Because, like, what the fuck do they care about? Like, is there no, like, redundancies in these data sets? There must be, especially the super important ones, and yet they seem to be draining them dry. So no, I don't think that they care for redundancies. I think that they are here to suck this Earth planet dry of Data, whatever it is.
Data, and then everything will stop working.
And then, wait. Not
so,
only everything will stop working, Ceres, without the data, the Earth would return to the Stone Age. You know, when we didn't have any data.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, that is a comment that they make, and it's like, wait, but like, we still have like railroads and shit like that. Like, we still have a lot of physical infrastructure.
Also,
your car doesn't need any data to run.
Yeah,
what are you talking about?
Yeah. Also, the pre-information era times is like the 1930s.
I know. We're gonna go to the time before any digital data ever. The Stone Ages of 1941.
Yeah. We're just going to be like doing the Charleston again. And like, it's the Roaring 20s, baby. The libertine movement will be the suffragette. The suffragette movement will be all the rage.
Yeah.
If the aliens get all the data.
Anyways, Ice Cube heroically charges into the Goliath room using the 5-letter code that the government secures all its secrets with.
We get the only non-camera shot.
He fights off a swarm of bugs that have very bad CGI. And then the movie gives up on the concept of only showing us footage through security cameras and computer screens, and just has a completely independent shot of a USB stick, not the one that was ordered, by the way, and I don't even think the one that was shown in the hand of the Amazon delivery driver, because it's got a slightly different design, being plugged into a black USB port.
Yep.
And then we pretend Ice Cube is dead, but he's obviously not dead, as it turns out. He rejects a position to be head of a new surveillance program that'll protect people's privacy, and instead says to the government, I've been watching them, but as of now, I'm watching you, making himself the worst hacker in the world because his exact address, name, and face are known to the government, and they could just arrest him for being an illegal government hacker, but whatever. The robots all die, / the bioorganic alien hybrids all die. His email gets sent to his family. They all console. He goes to the baby shower, and he wears the Grandpa Shark t-shirt that the Amazon driver made for him. The end. Yes. Movie over.
Yeah.
Aren't we smart? Data and privacy are our highest goods.
Aren't we smart? And the highest of those privacies is your Amazon card.
Exactly, and the highest of privacy is your Amazon card.
Yeah. Also, he's not a hacker.
It's so weird. It's so
like,
weird because the companies that record the most like negative data about us, like Google and Amazon, and these are all the companies that sponsored the movie.
Yeah, this movie exists in the weird red pill like MAGA intersection of culture, where people are distrust the government and data collection, but somehow are like corporations are great and we should not tax billionaires.
Exactly. Gmail is not surveillance. That's cool. Yes. Gmail is awesome.
Yes, exactly. The government.
What's bad is when the government hacks a Tesla for you.
It's insane. This movie is such a like split personality in terms of ideology. And also, sorry, I need to point this out. Ice Cube, not only is he a bad hacker because the government knows everything about him, he's just not a hacker. Without his miracle machine,
he won't have his software.
Without his miracle software, he can't do shit. So at the end of the movie, I was like, if he wanted to really keep an eye on the government, he should have probably just taken the job and been an inside agent, because he's much more useful like that. Like, dude, does Ice Cube think that if he's not working the magical machine at DHS, no one is?
I think that's the subtext of the movie, yeah. I think he's the only DHS employee.
There's just another guy there operating the machine, spying on Ice Cube and his family.
Yeah. And okay, so this is obviously not exactly the same as Head Up Your Ass with Thea, but I will compare it to those movies. The concept of the movie, I think, could work really well. Again, I think it's in the execution, and the execution of this movie is abysmal. But like the first 30 minutes of the movie, I was like, honestly, this is not that bad. It's a little weird to be watching a movie where it's all just told to you through a computer screen. But I was like, it's a swing you can take. It's a medium you could try. and like having like digital War of the Worlds that's about data and privacy is a cool way to update the story. So
I think it's a genre called live screen. It debuted in the early 2010s. It had a couple of successful movies, I think mostly horror movies that used this thing as like, used it for the horror genre, which I think it's probably a good idea. I think the most famous of these movies is called Unfriended, and it's like a social media themed horror movie. And I think that the guy who made these movies was called for this, and now the genre is dead.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyways, I'm just trying to say I think the concept of the movie is promising. I think the execution was really bad. The movie didn't understand its subject material. Its message was very mixed, and it was just fully infested and infected with advertisement and corporate like product placement and propaganda that made it kind of hard to watch and enjoy, because it's like the third arc of the movie literally depends on an Amazon driver airlifting you a USB stick via drone that you have to check out of. And that was the part of the movie where I'm like, I am watching an ad. I'm watching a Super Bowl ad right now. Yes, Ice Cube's in it. That's why it's a Super Bowl ad and not a normal ad. But like,
Yes.
this is a Super Bowl ad.
Yeah, there is.
I would say it was better though to watch than. No.
Is it though?
I was thinking about it, and I was like, at first I was like, I think it was better than Avatar, and I was like, I don't know. I still thought Avatar was better than the
it's
the
neither
space
one.
vagina one.
Yeah.
What was that one called?
Rebel Moon.
Rebel Moon.
Yeah.
I was like, it's still better than.
You think? Okay, so where do you place it?
Well, that's what I was thinking. I was thinking to myself, it's probably better than Avatar. And I was like, well, I don't know. I liked Avatar better than Rebel Moon. And now that I think about it, I think I like Rebel Moon better than this movie. And then I was like, wait, so this is the worst movie? And I was like, yeah, maybe. I think it might be the worst thing we've watched.
The thing, I mean, when we watched Rebel Moon, I think that like Rebel Moon was the worst to watch because it was the least insane.
Yeah.
The most competently shot. So it had kind of like almost like a boringly competent factor to it. But also it was 2 5-hour movies, which was the real crime of Rebel Moon. And like I would rather rewatch this than Rebel Moon because of the time. Like I would rather sit in front of this instead of Rebel Moon because it will suck less time out of me.
Yeah, it's a cool hour and a half long movie.
Yeah.
Same length as this episode, by the way. We've done the same thing where we talk about the movie for about as long as the movie is.
Oh, good. Thank God we didn't do it with Rebel Moon. Rebel Moon is much more boring. Like, sorry, no, sorry. Rebel Moon is like much cooler than this, just because it's a sci-fi action thing directed by Zack Snyder.
Yeah,
but it is 5 hours. This movie is, I think, entertaining in the so bad it's good kind of way, and it's 1.5 hours. So
it's funny because I feel like Rebel Moon pretends to be like a AAA tier movie. And it ends up being like a B tier movie. This movie pretends to be like a C tier movie and is like an F tier movie. You know what I mean? Like, this is just straight up an advertisement. Like, it's not really a movie, in my opinion. Like, there's like a 40 minutes of this movie are not movie, but are just advertisement. And that's like, I simply can't. On my 1 to 10 scale, this is definitely a 1. I think it's worse than Rebel Moon. But would I want to sit through those 5 hours? Maybe that alone makes it better.
I mean, yeah. Also, like, we also talked about it last time. Rebel Moon is like more competently shot than both Avatar and Megalopolis. But we place it at the bottom for the virtue of just like not being much, like not being very interesting, while Avatar and Megalopolis could spark, especially Megalopolis, endless discussions. And this time stop. This movie can be made fun of, but there is no discussion to be had. And I think, honestly, I will put it under Rebel Moon, just because Rebel Moon, I don't know, I still value an Thor tripping on his own feet and like crash landing spectacularly more than Amazon hijacking a movie and turning it into an ad.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, right, a lot of what this movie gets high marks for me from is for potential. But you can't rate potential that's not been met, right? Like you can't reward unmet potential. In fact, you probably have to punish it. So anyways, I'm gonna hack my Tesla and drive on out of this podcast. Do you have anything
Yes.
you want to plug?
Do I have anything I want to plug? Boy, recording a lot of episodes very closely to one another is really boning us on this segment of the show, huh?
Have you discovered anything since yesterday evening?
Yes, a movie
That
called
you-
War of the Worlds. It's bad.
Don't plug War of the Worlds.
I
No,
want
don't
not
do
plug of the world. Okay, you know what? There's been one thing has occurred.
it.
A trailer for the third Knives Out movie has dropped. It's
Oh.
called Wake Up a Dead Man. It'll probably be about a person whose murder is attempted and does not actually, go through or something like that. That's my guess. But I haven't seen the trailers because with these mystery movies, I try to avoid watching anything that could spoil stuff about them. I didn't watch the Knives Out trailer. I didn't watch the Glass Onion trailer. But yeah, it occurred. I think it's probably going to be like a fun, good movie. Knives Out is still the best one of the two that came out so far. I don't know if this one can outclass it, but I thought Glass Onion was good fun. Yeah. And I'm gonna plug out the Knives Out series. Basically, watch those movies, even if you're not a fan of the genre.
I really like the first one. I think the first one's the best. The second one is okay, but I would recommend the first one. That's the one that you should definitely watch. If you don't like it, then don't watch the second one. I'm going to plug The Age of Surveillance Capitalism for no particular reason by Shoshana Zuboff. It's a great book about, this is relevant to this movie. And maybe it's not just the government that's spying on you. So, no, but for real, it's about, like global companies harvesting users' data and how they use it to make profit, what the issues are with that, how you can deal with it, stuff like that. So it's a book that's been on my to-read list, but I haven't read it yet, but it's come to me highly recommended by other friends whose opinions on books I trust. So give it a shot if you want. And protect yourself from Project Goliath, I guess.
But with that being said, thank you for looking with me into the question, what if a Zoom call was an Amazon ad, was a movie called War of the Worlds with me? Series.
Yeah. I hope this is not the start of a new series, but a one-off, and we can watch Sinners next time or something like that.
We'll see. I already watched Sinners 3 times, so I'm very much saturated with Sinners. I see. I watched a lot of good movies this year, so I'm much more prone to just be like, I want to watch some trash because I just keep watching Andor and Peacemaker and Weapons and Sinners and Superman. It's like I need this.
We're eating so well in cinema. Can't somebody give me a trashy Amazon ad?
Exactly. Listen, I can't think of another. I mean, I'm sure there are movies like this. I can't think of another movie off the top of my head that like fits the "is this a movie" series yet? But if one comes out, or if I see one and I'm like, I need to watch this, be sure. The horn of Hell Hammeran will ring in the deep.
Alrighty, folks. That'll just about do it for our 48th episode. If you want more, you can find us on youtube.com/@a-friendly-orbit, as well as Spotify and Apple Podcasts. And if you happen to have any Astro Echoes you want to share with us, you can email us at @a-friendly-orbit@gmail.com, all one word.
All right, Ceres. I'll talk to you later. And to all of our fellow Voyagers, we'll catch you out there amongst the stars.
Ignition sequence start. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.